Welcome to Voices for Impact, the podcast. Started during the COVID-19 pandemic and made in Syracuse, Voices for Impact is full of conversations with thought leaders from around the world that have made significant accomplishments in their lives and have gone through their own challenges, but have made it through those adversities and made positive impacts through their work. I'm your host, Danielle Mensing, and as a fundraiser for a nonprofit, I believe the most valuable tool you can give yourself is making a positive impact on others and your community. Every conversation is going to give you tools and tactics from entrepreneurs, athletes, artists, and change makers that will encourage you to develop a growth mindset and reimagine how you can find your purpose. Now let's get started. Welcome to another episode of Voices for Impact. My name is Danielle Mensing, founder of Voices for Impact, and today I am chatting with Jess Novak. Jess takes no prisoners. With a fiddle on fire, powerful vocals, and a fierce band behind her, this pop, rock, soul-pumped group from Syracuse, New York brings passion to every performance. Known for their energy, superb musicianship, engaging songwriting, and ability to win any crowd, this is a band on the rise, having touched audiences around the country from Burlington, Vermont to Key West, Florida to San Diego, California. And with Novak playing more than 250 dates annually, the sound just gets tighter with each show. Thank you so much for having a conversation with me today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Now, so I saw Jess perform live at Heritage Hill Brew House not too long ago, and you're such a powerhouse. You really command a room with your music, and everyone just has so much fun listening to you. So just tell me about your music journey. How did your love for music begin?
Yeah, so my story is different than a lot of people in that a lot of people I know when they started music, they just knew music, music, music. And for me, it really wasn't like that because I started on violin and I didn't want to. I wanted to start on piano, but we didn't know a violin teacher or a piano teacher. So I went to violin. I liked it, but violin is all classical training, right? So everybody has to be the same and you audition for your chair in the orchestra. And
Right.
I just didn't like all of that side of it. So what I was much more interested in was my brother's music. He was learning bass guitar. And so Kool and the Gang and Cream and Jimi Hendrix, I immediately loved. So I knew from a young age that I wanted to play that. I just didn't have the opportunity to until much later. Because even though I was clear, I said to my mom, I want to play Jimi Hendrix on the violin. They just didn't know what that meant. So it took a long time to get there, but I knew what I wanted. I just kind of went away from it and came back because I couldn't figure out how to do it.
Yeah. And how many instruments do you play?
Now I play violin, guitar, piano, and I have a little tambourine on my foot when I play live. So I call it a tobarine too.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute. It was just awesome seeing you live because one minute you'd be on vocals with the guitar and the next thing you'd whip out the violin and it just sounds so amazing. You're amazing on all of the instruments. It always blows my mind to see a performer play several different instruments in one setting, performance. So that's just one of the many unique things about you. My next question is, what advice do you have for other musicians that are maybe even young musicians that are starting off in their career?
Yeah. So one thing that really stunted me was that when you get classical training, and that doesn't even mean classical music, just classical music training in school, it's all about auditioning and you're always ranked and you're told how to do it right and how to do this right and what you're doing is wrong. And while there are a lot of technical pieces to music, and yes, you need to understand some theory and you do need to hold the violin correctly or you're going to hurt yourself, like your hands, think like those are real concerns. It doesn't mean that anything is wrong necessarily, just like there are so many different types of music. Okay, so something that fits in folk music doesn't fit in metal. That doesn't make it wrong. It just makes it different. So I put down music altogether and thought I was in no way good enough because I just kept getting ranked and wasn't the top. And so I thought, how can I ever make a living? Or really, I'll just embarrass myself if I even try. So if you're passionate about it, you just have to work hard. And I mean, I still have those days of insecurity and doubt because there are a million people better than me in every way. And that's okay though, because they're not me. So better in some sense, whatever, it doesn't matter. And that's a beautiful thing about music and art in general, is that it's expressive. So if you're expressing something that people gravitate to, you win. That's it. That's all you have to do is be yourself. So that's not to say you don't have to practice and work really, really hard, but I think it's unfair to let yourself stop or be stunted because somebody tells you you're not good enough. That's not true. You are. You just got to keep going for it.
Oh, that's so true. That's such powerful advice, especially for young musicians. I think as a performer, you want to be at your best, and every audition you have or musical interaction you have with others, you really want to perform at your best level. And I think one thing a person could say that's negative about you could really ruin the trajectory of what could be an amazing career. And you might listen to them because you're still growing as a young person and getting confidence in your abilities. And yeah, so it's very important what you said, just being you, and you do have to do the hard work behind it and practice, but not letting those negative voices get in your head and take you off the track you're supposed to be.
Yes, exactly. And they never stop. In fact, the more successful you are, the louder they are. So it's so important, like from the beginning, to learn, like, just don't listen. If you're confident what you're doing, and doesn't mean you're perfect. You're never perfect. Nobody is, but take the criticism here and there, and, you know, with a grain of salt. Sometimes it's just jealousy or, you know, something else, not even about you. A lot of times it's someone else expressing something in them.
Right. Very true. Very good advice. With that said, how do you keep and like get into a positive mindset? You know, with a career as a musician, there's so many ups and downs and challenges that you have to face, and not just you know, as far as going through your career, but even just setting up your set and your performance at each venue or something like that. How do you get in that mind frame to keep positive?
Yeah, wow. There's a lot of things to say with that one. I think a lot of it comes down to, you can't be a musician unless you absolutely love it. And that means you love setting up, and you love driving to new places, and you love being uncomfortable, and you love touring and staying up late and getting up early. And but that's like any business owner. Yeah. So when you're a musician, you're also an independent business owner. That is your whole life. So just like someone who owns a nail salon or a restaurant, it's the same exact idea. Yeah, there's a lot of grunt work, and there's going to be a lot of days you're unhappy for one reason or another, but you love it so much that you just keep going. So a lot of it is just that I really do think about on the days where I'm like, I don't even want to play this show. It's like, remember when you couldn't even fathom playing a show by yourself? That wasn't even a thought in your brain that you could do that, play original songs that people would ask for. And then I kind of check myself and say, okay, I'm really excited to play this show, because not that it was 10 years ago that I did not even think I could do this. That is not that long to do this full circle thing, where now it's like, and now I feel tired sometimes of it. Like, yeah, smack in the face sometimes. Like, wake up, you're so lucky, and be grateful for all the opportunities. That's it.
Yeah, that's really good points. I think that we all work so hard to reach certain goals, and then we kind of get there and we're in the day-to-day of what we used to dream about happening. That it can get tiring, and that's natural, but that's a good point to just go and reference back to who you were 10 years ago or a year ago, and what you had worked so hard for to get to where you are today. And that gratitude is really important. I agree with what you're saying there.
Exactly.
My next question is, what skill or characteristic do you think about yourself has allowed you to reach your goals and dreams in life?
I love this, because I always say to people, we're like, you're so good. You're so good. I'm like, I'm not that good. I can tell you, there's just so many talented people in the world. When it comes to music, the list is just so long, but what I do is I can outwork anybody. Maybe I can't outplay you on guitar, or I can't out solo you on violin, whatever, but I can outwork you, confident, no, hands down. So I'm just incredibly stubborn, incredibly independent, and I just won't stop until I get something, whatever it is I'm after. So yeah, that's really done it for me. And anyone can do that. Like I said, wake up earlier, stay up later, practice more, make time, say no to the social event to do what you need to do. And that's all I've done. So
Oh, well, that's a
that's
really that's a really good characteristic to have. You know, at the end of the day, you can be the most talented person in the world, but if you don't put any work behind it, and you're lazy about it, somebody's going to come behind you and steal that spot at the end of the day.
Zach, I say that to, especially to musicians who are like, I want to get in a good band. You know, I want to be part of something. It's like, okay, well, here's the key. You can be the best musician in the world, but if you don't show up, you're nothing. You don't exist because you're not there. So and this is again, like with any business, people think music is different because you need talent. But at the end of the day, it's not. If you don't show up, you don't count.
Yeah.
If you don't put in the work, it doesn't matter. It's all same concepts. But people, I think, hide behind the idea of talent, and it's not so much about that. It's about being pleasant to work with, showing up on time, learning the material you need to learn. Like it's very simple things that those are what's going to make you successful at this or anything.
Yeah, good points. Before I get to my last question, where can people reach out to you or find your music? I know you have a website. Could you tell people where to connect with you?
Yeah, I am easy to find. I search myself. I'm easy to find. I'm on, so my Facebook, Jess Novak Music, or the band, Jess Novak Band. I'm on Instagram and Twitter, JessRock87. My music is everywhere, Spotify, Amazon, iTunes. And the easiest way, I think, to get to all of that, especially YouTube and, you know, just the website, JessRockNovak.com takes you everywhere. So that's kind of the hub for all of it.
Awesome. Check her out. Follow her page on Instagram. Go to her website. She's amazing. Blast her on the radio or on your iPhone or iTunes. It's really nice to listen to. My last question is, how do you define success?
Oh, I love this. I love your questions. So I was talking, I went to James Madison University and studied music industry. And I loved that program because they brought in speakers. So real people doing what we wanted to do. They brought them in all the time. Yeah. And since I've been one of those speakers, and I go in and I talk to the students, and it just blows my mind when they look up to me with these stars in their eyes. And that's what I talk about more than anything, because success is all about perspective. And I wish somebody told me in school that it's whatever you want it to be, right? So I'm a musician. Everybody says, oh, but don't you just want to be Lady Gaga? Don't you just want to be bigger, 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 the biggest? Yeah. It's like, sure, that's wonderful that they make tons of money and reach millions of people. There's nothing negative to say about that. But for me, that can only squash you to just be comparing yourself to something that's really, honestly, incredibly rare. I know so many talented musicians, and they're not there, and that's okay. That's the point. That to me, success is waking up every single day and doing what I want to do. Make music, play for people, connect with people online. I connect with people all over the world when I play on Twitch. You know, that's success. And that I determine how it goes, how many shows I play, who I play with. That I get to have so much control over this thing that is my whole life. And that my whole life is, honestly, when I was a kid, I knew I wanted to do it. I was just afraid of it. So to say that I got there, that's it. I made it. I did it. So success is whatever you want it to be. Just do it. Don't wait.
I love that. I got chills just hearing you talk about that. Very good points. And I hope those that are listening are motivated, inspired by your words. Thank you so much for giving us some insight into your story and what you do.
Thanks for having me. I'm just honored to be part of what you do.
Well, I'm honored to talk with you. And thank you so much to our viewers for watching. Voices for Impact is on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, as well as iHeartRadio and Apple Radio podcasts platforms. So please follow, like, subscribe to stay connected. And I will see you next time on Voices for Impact. Bye, guys.